When it comes to legacy sequels, few television revivals have dared to take the kind of audacious, challenging, and artistically fearless path that Twin Peaks: The Return did in 2017. 8 years after its release, the series continues to stand tall as one of the most impactful and misunderstood entries in the genre, not just because it continued a cult classic, but because it reinvented what continuation could mean in an age obsessed with nostalgia. David Lynch's Twin Peaks was already a television anomaly when it premiered in 1990, a surrealist soap noir hybrid that defied genre boundaries and network expectations. Yet when Twin Peaks: The Return aired on Showtime decades later, it didn't merely pick up where things left off. It shattered every expectation, offering a haunting meditation on identity, time, trauma, and the very nature of storytelling itself. A sequel that refuses nostalgia. In a landscape littered with fan service and warm callbacks to the good old days, The Return did something radical. It denied its audience comfort. It refused to offer clean resolutions or tidy arcs for the beloved residents of Twin Peaks. Characters were older, changed, and in many cases, spiritually hollowed out. Life had moved on, and not always for the better. While many fans expected Dale Cooper's long-awaited escape from the Black Lodge to bring closure or catharsis, Lynch offered something deeper and more disorienting. Cooper's return came in fragments, first as the barely conscious Dougie Jones, then as a man driven by fate rather than clarity. The series asked not whether he could return, but whether it was ever truly possible to come back from trauma unchanged. A mirror to a modern, fractured world. In The Return, the evil that once festered in the heart of small-town America, embodied by Bob and the mysteries of the Black Lodge, now seemed to permeate everything. From Las Vegas to New York, the story sprawled outward, reflecting a world increasingly consumed by unseen forces, disconnection, and spiritual decay. Lynch wasn't just continuing a narrative, he was updating its context for the 21st century. This wasn't cynicism. It was evolution. The show acknowledged that 25 years changes people, both in fiction and in life. In doing so, it confronted the illusion of permanence that nostalgia offers. Instead of recreating the world of Twin Peaks, it explored how that world had aged, and in doing so, forced its audience to confront how they had changed. 2. The art of ambiguity. Critics of The Return often cite its ambiguity, its unresolved mysteries, and its refusal to explain. But this was the very essence of what made it great. Unlike other legacy sequels that mimic the beats of their predecessors, Lynch and co-creator Mark Frost designed a spiritual sequel, not in plot, but in theme, tone, and ambition. It didn't matter if every question was answered. What mattered was that every moment pulsed with meaning. Whether it was the chilling arrival of the experiment in Episode 8 or the slow unraveling of time and identity in the final hour, The Return wasn't a puzzle to be solved. It was an experience to be lived through. A legacy unlike any other. While modern legacy revivals like Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Dexter, New Blood, or Ghostbusters, Afterlife focus on fan expectations and retreading familiar ground, Twin Peaks: The Return exists in a league of its own. It doesn't just revisit, it interrogates. It doesn't just answer, it questions. It doesn't just entertain. It lingers, long after the credits roll. More than just a sequel, it was a swan song, not just for the town of Twin Peaks, but arguably for Lynch himself. In the years since, The Return has been increasingly understood not as an aberration, but as a masterpiece, a culmination of Lynch's themes across Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Lost Highway, and Mulholland Drive, distilled into a single, haunting epic. David Lynch's final masterwork. With Lynch's recent passing, The Return takes on an even more powerful role in his legacy. It wasn't just a continuation, it was a final statement, a work of aching beauty, unresolved longing, and existential terror, wrapped in a world audiences thought they understood. To call it the greatest legacy sequel of all time may sound like hyperbole. But few, if any, legacy sequels have dared to reimagine their source material with such emotional intelligence and artistic risk. In refusing to give fans what they wanted, The Return gave them something better: truth. And in the world of television, that's the rarest gift of all.